Moving on to now, up the charts to number 4, and Bliss.
Number 4.
To you, man.
Oh, do I make the sound or do I not make the sound, people? Bum, bum, ba-ba-dum, ba-dum.
Oh, yeah.
Bum, bum, ba-ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
Oh, yeah. Another Jimmy.
Coming in the wind.
Another Jimmy.
Another Jimmy. There could be something about Jimmys in the 70s, but the Jimmy Castor Bunch, which as far as we know is the only group called a bunch.
Name of the song?
In the 70s, name of the song is The Birth of Bud Boogie.
Wow.
Sequel, only sequel on any of these lists. And it is the sequel to Troglodyte, where he finds the woman in the bathing in the river and snatches the hair off her head.
It's it didn't quite make our feminist, our women's show, did it? But,
no, and a lot of fun.
And why do you not ever do that today, fellas?
Yes.
Don't try that today, fellas, because...
Yes, he was at least aware that times had changed since Troglodyte civilization.
You'll be standing there with the hair in your hand and she'll be swimming away. Okay.
But
right.
This is one of those weird, okay, there were tons of funk songs, Flashlight, Parliament, that I would love to have put in the top 5. And they're funny too, in their own weird, cosmic, your world's thrown a half inch off its axis kind of thing. No funk song from the 70s has given me more laughter over the following 40 years than this particular song. And again, God rest his soul, Jimmy Castor, a couple of years ago. Albums undependable. Okay, this one with its own Funk Funny is on the back cover. Yeah,
here we go.
Is undependable. There are some mid-tempo things that kind of work. And there are some ballads that kind of don't work.
Like Stairway to Heaven?
Yes. When he was having a good time. When it was Funk Funnies, there was nobody in that particular class.
We could have gotten more mileage out of Jimmy Castor mythology over the years. I can testify.
Bertha, Betty, and Bathsheba, but
the
real sequel to this song was not Bertha Butt Meets Vadar, which was on his album a couple of years later.
Yeah.
It had the funk. It didn't have the funny, right?
Yeah.
So it took like 25 years for Baby Got Back, Sir Mix-a-Lot, to make a real sequel to the classic big butt song of all time. It just never quits, and I will annoy people with it at parties for the rest of my days.
Oh, all right. My number 4 song. It peaked at number 22 in 1977. My cohort here has already mentioned this song before. I hope that I didn't let on anything. The song is "Long Time" by Boston. Okay. I would prefer it if you could include foreplay and make it the album version.
As they did on FM radio all the time.
Okay. Off their debut album. But let me throw you a curveball, all right? Because I'm going to go to some weird places with this.
Okay.
At first, and then I'm going to get kind of down and dirty, okay? If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me?
Yes.
For I must be traveling on now, because there's too many places I got to see.
Right.
It's been such a long time. I think I should be going. Time doesn't wait for me. It keeps on going. Sail on a distant highway. I've got to keep on chasing a dream. I've got to be on my way. Wish there was something I could say. How about if I stay here with you, girl? Things just couldn't be the same.
Exactly.
Because I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you'll never change. Well, I'm taking my time. I'm just moving on. You'll forget about me after I've been gone. And I take what I find. I don't want no more. It's just outside of your front door. The road, the highway, the dream, the tour, the crowds, the other nookie. The out there beckons. And listen, when you were a teenager, that sounded pretty good to to me. I shouldn't say
no,
us,
no,
okay?
no. It sounded like freedom.
It sounded like freedom. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Ronnie Van Zant artistically. I mean, I gotta. It's in my top 5 because it is my favorite over-the-top album rock era, air guitar, magnum opus, prototypical guitar solo freak-out song.
Yeah.
Playing air guitar with broomsticks out at Macrae's Lake.
Yeah.
The first Louisiana's Day of Rock and Roll, where we got to go on a mission to see Boston and New Orleans with Steve.
Yeah.
And the pipe organ's rising up from behind the stage during foreplay, and Steve lost his shit when that happened.
Yeah.
I remember him saying, "God damn!" when that stuff. So there's a BC and an AD, a part of my aesthetic sensibility.
Yeah.
This belongs in the BC
era.
Yeah. So I'm kind of acknowledging that misspent youth. Era of mine,
but mind blown.
But mind blown, misspent youth, I guess. And so this was for me. This is for all of my early love. For I gotta name them for stuff like Rich Raff, Shaw, Sean, Boland, Blackmore, Howe, Hagar, Page, Malmsteen, Vi, Satriani, Eddie Van Halen, Angus Young, Randy Rhoads, Dwayne Allman, Eric Clapton, Pete Townsend, Joe Walsh, Ted Nugent, and yes, Tom Schultz. Difficult perfectionist that he can be.
This sound.
Okay. We're up to number 3, and Bliss, you're up.
Number 3 on my list is an artist who I, to be honest, do not own a bunch of albums of. But he is one of the most prolific rock artists of all time. I mean, I think he's way ahead of Prince in the count. Todd Rundgren's "Hello, It's Me."
Oh, wow.
Because it sounds to me like the 70s. Not just the sweetness of the story, but in the story that he tells, it's like, maybe that's the man I wanted to be, right? It was already an oldie by the time I would have been listening to it. And then when I heard the album versions.
Always album versions.
Always. A lot of the songs on that, about 90% of the stuff on there, he did every instrument. And so on the album version, he does the count in, and then you actually, at the end of it, hear the breakdown of the song at the end of the cut. And I mean, that there's just a little hint of like this sort of postmodern, we're making a record kind of thing. But the other thing is, it's sweet, and it's soulful, and it's adult, right? It's this sense of a whole lived-in relationship that when I was listening to it as an oldie at 14, 15, 16, would have no clue about, but man, that sounded like a cool place to be when you got older, right? I think this is also true with movies. The difference between movies that kids like now and movies that we wanted to go see when we were 16, 17, 18. We wanted to see movies about people who were older than us and cooler than us. Whereas it seems that now people more prefer to see themselves in a scenario. For me, it's sort of like the great mean of quality pop music. it never condescends and falls into Captain Tennille territory, and it's not too sweet, but it's lush and just captivating.
I've always liked it. I've always liked the song.
Think of
Yeah.
me. I want to fall into its arms. Okay.
This is really going to be switching gears a lot. This was my highest peaking song of all my 5, and the highest it got was number 9. So it got to number 9, and it got to number 9 in the year 1975, although it was released late in 1974.
Mm-hmm.
The song was written by Clifton Davis of the 70s TV show That's My Mama.
Oh
and
my God.
And the 80s TV show Amen with Sherman Hemsley.
Wow.
Of the Jeffersons.
Wow, I'd never known that.
You didn't know that.
And I don't even know the name of the
You
song.
don't know the name of the song yet. I'm teasing you here.
Yeah.
It was produced by the Disco Corporation of America. I'm not making that up. Not making that up. Which included these 4 gentlemen: Jay Ellis, Tony Bongiovi, Harold Wheeler, and Miko Minardo.
Yes!
Yes, he says. This song was the first number 1 song ever on the Billboard Dance Disco chart.
Ah.
It made it to number 3 in Canada, and it made it to number 2 in the United Kingdom, surpassing even the Jackson 5's original chart performance of this song.
Oh.
Can you guess what it is?
Never can.
Yes!
Goodbye.
You get the chicken dinner. Winner, winner. Never Can Say Goodbye by Gloria Gaynor. All right?
It's just hot, hot, hot.
The galloping, building momentum of this song, of this damn thing, is completely unstoppable.
It just got that Latin heavy duty.
Unstoppable. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Jackson 5's version,
No.
and I'm not dumping in Hayden. I like their version.
Right.
It's actually got a funkier beat to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Isaac Hayes did a pretty good version of this song.
With the long,
Yes, he did.
with the long
Yeah.
rapping intro.
But-
yeah.
I will say this. This was the only time that the often referred to King of Pop,
Mm-hmm.
it's the only time anybody ever cut him.
Yeah.
He got cut on this one. Gloria Gaynor cut him on this one.
Yeah.
This song, it's
4 years later.
It's 4 years later when she finally gets the strength to get out the door and to keep the guy locked out. Okay? What it does to me is that it makes weakness, frustration, and anguish feel completely transcendent out on a dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, we went to the disco in the 70s. It was the place where the happy people went, okay? To escape and forget, okay? Tony in Saturday Night Fever was just trying to stay alive in the urban jungle, okay?
Oh, wait,
Remember, he worked in a hardware store by day.
What was the name of the place?
The place? Studio
it was
54?
Cash
McCool's in Meridian. Cash McCool's.
Which in 1980,
Yeah.
as if a bell had rung, turned into Lily Lang trees to cash in on the
Right, cash in on
urban cowboy.
yeah. It's still, the quote fits. Pete Townsend was talking about rock and roll when he said that, you know, rock and roll won't solve your problems, but it will help you dance all over them. Okay? And, you know, that's what's going on in the song here. Okay? The tension between the singer's anguish and her emotional struggle and the hard charging momentum of the song is what makes the song incredible. It's like a bomb that needs to explode. Piercing her right to the core. Problems, anguish, doubt. That same old dizzy hang up. You know, it's turn around, you fool. You know you love him more and more. Who are you kidding? Why is it so? I don't want to let you go. It's not like a whisper to a scream song. It's a simmer to a boil song. You're helpless and you hate it and you love it. You know, it wasn't even a chart hit, but I thought of the song Leaving and Saying Goodbye by Jeannie Seeley. And we saw the Tom Jumpers do this at the Station Inn once. So Dawn Sears of the Time Jumpers
Yeah.
doing Jeannie Seeley's song. I think Jeannie Seeley was in the audience that night.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the whole thing of
Who was it that said that the romance is never actually as good as the song that was written about the romance?
that art is better than the real thing.
Yeah.